Hello Glue Troopers, Max's Models here, and I want to thank Mr. Fox who sent me this Godzilla t-shirt, and I will try it on as soon as I get home. It is a little too cold right now to be peeling clothes off and trying it. So what I thought I would talk about today is, you guys know I just put out that video on the Army chase planes, Mustangs, T-28s. Well, they got me digging into some other Army obscura. A lot of us build military aircraft, but we kind of get tired after a while. You know, another P-51, another F-16, another Zero, and we look for different things to do. And of course, it's been recommended, and I probably will paint one of my P-51Ds as a Army chase plane, maybe a T-28 also. I've got one of those in the stash. People said they got to put it with the Sky Crane, but they don't make them in 1/35th scale. So anyway, of course, a 1/32nd scale. I've got a 1/32nd scale Mustang. It's the one I made, the Tamiya kit, the F-51D. I put it in the Korean markings, but I think that would probably be a little bit too big. But I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different, and some Army obscura that in some cases even I wasn't aware of until I started digging. And I owe a lot of this to some YouTube videos that were sent to me by a viewer. So let's move on to that. So in 1965, turns out the Army got its hands on about a dozen Navy P-2, Lockheed P-2 Neptunes. They needed them as comment planes, communications intelligence, basically snoopers, sort of part of what would later become, I guess, the Guardrail system. And when I was at the Army Aviation Museum, I saw the P-2 parked out front, and I didn't understand why the Army would have a P-2. And I don't know if they ever actually took ownership of them, because this program ran from 65 to 72, and when it was over, they gave the airplanes back to the Navy. So I don't know if they were actually given to the Army and given back, or if they were just loaned. The Army did make modifications to them. One way you can tell the Army one real quick is that P-2s have a glass nose, basically a bombardier's nose, and this had it covered up. And they had a big crew, like 13 to 15 guys. These videos, actually rare videos, show the Army operating them out of a Navy base in Vietnam. I think it might have been Cam Bay, but the Army personnel, it was technically redesignated the AP-2, and I think it was AP-2V. I don't know if it was a V model or an H model, but the airplanes were left in Navy markings. They just changed where it said Navy to Army. And I think this was partly done to kind of throw off the enemy, keep it low profile. There were so many Navy P-2s flying around that you can just put Army on the side. No one's going to notice if it's painted the same. And they went up and did their spy missions, and the crews had to remove all of their rank insignia and ID cards and everything else, so they could claim, oh, we're just a research aircraft that got lost. That's one reason they gave it the AP instead of an RP designation, because R would have made a reconnaissance. And of course, this wouldn't have fooled anybody. It was just to give them some sort of deniability. But the Army flew the P-2 for 7 years, and I would imagine those missions were probably fairly risky, flying what I believe was an unarmed airplane packed full of guys who probably didn't have a prayer of getting out if anything happened, but I don't think they lost any of them. And the Army version of the P-2 isn't made by anybody, but there is one decal company that makes has the markings for the Army aircraft. So you can, it wouldn't be much, you just have to make the Army's little listening device for the wingtip, put it on a standard one, cover up the nose, and put the Army decals on it. You pretty much have it. Be a real easy conversion. I didn't see any conversion kits, but I don't really think you need one. The decals are enough, and you could probably find enough decals in your spares drawer if you got any Army decals to do it, even without buying the decal set. Since, like I say, I don't think they bothered to repaint them. They're probably just basic Navy markings with just Army designations on them. But that's one of those little interesting bits of aviation obscura. The Army used a variety of light aircraft, mostly Beechcraft as guardrail aircraft, which are listening planes. And I looked at and I've seen a bunch of guardrail aircraft, and I swear no two of them have the same antenna arrangement. They definitely got more sophisticated over time. But they've mostly been based on Queen Air or later King Air airframes, which is a good durable airframe. And here's another little bit of Army obscura for you. The Army had both the Beechcraft Twin Bonanza and the Beechcraft Queen Air. And they're both in military designation U-8s and called Seminoles. Like, wait a minute. The military's always big about designating aircraft differently. Why do they keep the same name? Because these are two different airplanes, but from the Army's point of view, one was just a derivative of the other, which I'm not really sure how accurate that is, but could be. But the interior layout and everything of the T-Bone and the Queen Air are quite different. And the Queen Air is much bigger. It's got the cabin class fuselage, but whatever reason, they both kept the designation U-8. Well, that's not the only time I know of different airframes having the same number. The Russians did it with the Tu-22, and apparently one of the reasons that you see that happen is funding. Sometimes the government, for whatever country, this is nothing that's unique to the United States, will say, well, we're not going to give you any money for new airplanes, new types and everything, but we'll give you money to expand a given fleet, or modify it. And they go, well, let's just give it the same designation, even though it's a different airplane. And of course, there's the old A-26, B-26 confusion also, but that's because the designations changed once when the B-26 Marauder was operating. When the Douglas A-26 came out, they made it an attack plane, so they had different designations. But once the Marauder was gone, it could be redesignated the B-26 Invader, which, militaries, governments, humans, we do weird stuff. But anyway, there's a lot more on Army Obscura. I've been looking at some airplanes to talk about, and some of which do not have kits. In the case of the P2, there's a gazillion kits, but we've got none of them that are it's just really the markings that are in two little things, easy conversion. But some of these things aren't kitted at all that I'm aware of. We might talk about that in the near future, because there's a lot of, the Army flew a lot of stuff people don't know anything about. I mean, unless they're real aficionados. And some of them were even, I think, one-offs. So maybe we'll talk about that more. But if you're looking for something different to do with your P-51 or your P2, put it in Army markings. All right, guys, that's all for right now. You take care of yourselves, and as always, model on. One more quick note, this is not the end of the Obscura. This is not AI. Yes, at one point somebody got the bright idea to strap some jet engines on a King Air, but more about that in another video.